Dan, when I was at NBC about creating IT cosmetics. And she did have the high, I can't even do it, my voice is too low, but she had the high squeaky voice a little, but she's really leaning in now in her little podcast with Megyn. And she's gone next octave up, and the two of them have the weirdest dynamic.
Every claim of oppression, every staged sob story, and every desperate grab for sympathy collapses under Megyn Kelly's sharp, unrelenting dismantling of Meghan Markle. Once hailed as the modernizer of the monarchy, Meghan is stripped of her carefully curated image and reduced to a broken record of contradictions and grievances. Kelly exposes how the Duchess transformed privilege into victimhood, fame into failure, and opportunity into parody. With brutal precision, she frames Meghan as the reluctant star of her own downfall, a cautionary tale of someone who built a brand on complaints but lost control of the narrative.
Markle posted a bizarre video on her social media yesterday, which sent several people into absolute meltdown. It is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape I've seen in a long time. I'm sorry, but I'm going to make you watch it. SOT 24.
1 month, 2 months, 3 months, hit the baby mama when I'm stepping through the door.
She's
yeah, I'm pregnant,
supposedly 9 months pregnant in the hospital room, dancing with a big belly.
Megyn Kelly takes one look at Meghan Markle and immediately calls out the familiar scent of recycled victimhood, neatly packaged in a designer coat. And according to Kelly, it's not just the coat that's overpriced. It's the entire Meghan Markle brand. Kelly wastes no time tearing apart Meghan's carefully crafted persona, accusing her of mastering the art of turning mediocrity into martyrdom. To Kelly, Meghan walks through life auditioning for the role of saint of perpetual suffering, but the audience has long stopped applauding.
So in this podcast, Meghan does her perfectly curated life thing, but she's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout, you know, and like she's completely camera ready, except she didn't put eye makeup on. And she also is pretending that she's crying. And we did a zero in, like we zoomed in just to see there isn't a tear in sight. Dan, look at
Kelly's most devastating blow comes when she dismantles Meghan's carefully constructed image of being a silenced trailblazer and humanitarian. Meghan sold herself as the bold voice crushed under the weight of an outdated monarchy, but Kelly rips through the facade to reveal a different reality. Meghan wasn't silenced, she was amplified. Catapulted into global fame, Meghan enjoyed the spotlight only to later complain that the cameras were cruel. Kelly highlights the hypocrisy, exposing how Meghan somehow managed to claim she was both oppressed and overexposed, all in the same breath.
she is the most insecure person I have seen in the public eye in a long time. That is why everything had to be perfectly curated. Who the hell picks fucking berries in a white cashmere blouse and white pants? Literally no one on earth does that. And like this garden, which is like...
Then comes Meghan's favorite fairy tale, the one she never lets the world forget. She frames it, repackages it, and retells it like a Netflix miniseries, as though the world hasn't heard it a dozen times already. The princess who married into the monarchy but faced unspeakable injustice behind palace walls. It's Meghan's most cherished narrative. But Kelly shreds it mercilessly, pointing out how only Meghan could spin a castle into a cage and a crown into a shackle. The real tragedy, Kelly argues, isn't Meghan's alleged suffering. It's that the world has been forced to endure her endless retelling of it.
To take a close-up look at this. Where's the tear? There's nothing there. Look, it's an actor's trick. She just keeps wiping and wiping and wiping, so we think she has a heart.
Oh my God, Meghan. She has this really famous thing where she says one tap left eye and she can make herself cry on demand. And it's a really good thing to have as an actress. But you're completely right. There were no tears there.
And then there's Harry, Meghan's ginger sidekick, whose transformation from decorated prince to podcast husband has, in Kelly's view, become one of the saddest chapters in modern celebrity culture. Kelly doesn't just roast Meghan. She highlights how Meghan pulled Harry into the whirlpool of her narrative, reducing him from a beloved royal and respected veteran into little more than a background prop in her ongoing campaign for sympathy. Kelly compares Harry's journey to a man who escaped the palace guards only to find himself imprisoned by his own wife's PR machine.
Is there too. She's kind of twerking. She's gonna twerk. Here comes Harry. She spreads her legs. She hikes her dress. She circles her genitals around and around. Okay. This is deeply problematic on a number of levels.
Kelly saves some of her sharpest barbs for Meghan's obsession with authenticity. According to Kelly, Meghan has curated her relatability like a museum exhibit. Staged interviews, perfect lighting, and designer dresses, all while trying to convince the world she's just like everyone else. Nothing captures the absurdity better than Meghan standing on a stage in Dior, telling working mothers she understands their struggles, all while living in a Montecito mansion so large it has its own zip code. Kelly also skewers Meghan's constant reinventions, noting how she seamlessly morphs between Hollywood actress, royal duchess, oppressed victim, feminist warrior, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and podcaster. Always reinventing, but never authentic.
She only has on people who she gave money to so they can say how amazing she is.
Yeah, it's like she's her boss. So like Meghan is Hannah Mendoza's boss, effectively. So clearly she's keeping to the script. But there's this really awful moment where Meghan turns into the mean girl that we know she all is, and she mocks Hannah Mendoza.
For Kelly, the one constant in Meghan's identity carousel is her insatiable hunger for applause. Meghan thrives on validation while pretending not to care what anyone thinks, and Kelly calls her out on it directly. She also dismantles Meghan's carefully curated feminist image, arguing that Meghan's brand of feminism is less about breaking barriers and more about opportunism dressed in empowerment slogans. Meghan joined institutions, used their power for global recognition, and discarded them when the applause wasn't loud enough. Kelly exposes her activism as performative, reducing Meghan's feminism to a glossy vanity project designed for cameras, not real change.
Here's the problem. We don't like you, Meghan Markle. We don't like you. And no amount of posting videos that you think are going to humanize you will make us like you. You've already shown us your true colors. We know who you are. You helped kill the Queen. You didn't give two shits about calling the royal family racist while Prince Philip was on his deathbed and casting aspersions on him. You have completely undermined all the amazing gifts that this family has given you as nothing and suggested that they didn't care you were suicidal and they were the ones who drove you there.
Kelly's roast wouldn't be complete without taking aim at Meghan's infamous interviews. The ones with perfectly timed tears and dramatic pauses crafted for maximum emotional impact. Kelly argues that Meghan has weaponized fragility, turning every inconvenience into trauma, every private disagreement into oppression, and every cold glance into systemic injustice. But Kelly also rips apart Meghan's American dream narrative, pointing out that Meghan's idea of independence involves multi-million-dollar deals and global media partnerships. Privacy, Kelly argues, doesn't come from escaping the monarchy. It comes from refusing to monetize your story at every opportunity. To Kelly, Meghan's independence isn't empowerment. It's a corporate-sponsored exit strategy disguised as liberation.
Over the top, like we're all supposed to go, Maureen, to make our breakfast in the morning, out to our gardens and pick our berries, our raspberries, our strawberries, our blueberries, our snozberries, and cut our mint, and then cut our flowers that are edible. But don't worry, she's a woman of the people. You can grow those just on your windowsill at home in New York, your edible flowers.
And don't forget your local beekeeper.
Yeah.
Your local beekeeper.
Oh, yeah, because she has a bee hive, which she goes to. That's how they open the whole series with her bees. And like, don't worry, if you don't have this, just go to your local beekeeper. Clearly, we're living in different...
Even Meghan's attempts at relatability don't escape Kelly's scalpel. Kelly mocks Meghan's constant comparisons to ordinary people, suggesting that the Duchess of Montecito expects the public to nod along while sipping coffee in their cramped apartments. But Megyn, Kelly argues, has no concept of ordinary struggles. Her biggest crisis involved whether her custom designer gown matched the palace decor. Kelly also claims that Megyn squandered her one true chance to modernize the monarchy and leave a lasting legacy. Instead, she chose to burn bridges, market victimhood, and retreat to California, cashing in on royal titles while pretending she didn't need them.
That would really show, the crack in the facade. I have trouble believing that, because she right now wants to maintain the facade and wants us all to believe that it's perfect in Montecito. Welcome to Montecito time, where we have champagne with fruit dollops inside of it at all hours of the day. But anyway, why would she risk that news coming out by actively shopping? It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, she's a deeply manipulative woman.
Kelly calls Meghan's downfall one of the greatest missed opportunities in modern celebrity culture. It wasn't oppression that caused the fall, it was self-obsession. Kelly argues that Meghan Markle's story isn't tragic, it's tedious. The endless interviews, manufactured drama, and staged reinventions have turned her into a broken record the public no longer wants to hear. Kelly also skewers Meghan's obsession with Hollywood validation, painting her as an actress of modest talent who married into royalty to fast-track her fame. But even with Netflix documentaries and PR stunts, Kelly suggests Meghan's acting hasn't improved. The audience is just bigger and less forgiving.
She gave an interview to People magazine. And in the People magazine article, she says she loves building this safe haven and show with her daughter, and as part of her As Ever brand. And she says, being able to have my own little girl, as I've spent so much of my life championing the rights of girls and women, and to be able to see this as a multi-generational story. Archie is, of course, included in that. My husband is, of course, included in that. But I love the heritage feeling of it, and knowing this is something that I can create in front of my daughter and teach her what it's like to be a working mom. This is not what it's like.
Kelly points out that Meghan and Harry's Netflix documentary promised an inside look, but delivered a glossy highlight reel of complaints no one asked to see. It wasn't storytelling, it was score settling, disguised as empowerment. Kelly mocks the absurdity of watching two multimillionaires lament their hardships from a sprawling Montecito mansion, calling the production reality TV without self-awareness. She also targets Meghan's failed podcast, which was marketed as groundbreaking but fizzled quickly. According to Kelly, the podcast wasn't about amplifying diverse voices, it was about amplifying Meghan. Even her attempts to pose as a global stateswoman fall flat, with Kelly arguing that Meghan has mastered the art of looking important without actually achieving anything substantial.
Absolutely no love lost between her and most people who may be somewhat warm towards the royal family, even if we're not big on royalty. She's reportedly bullied virtually everybody who's ever worked for her. She can't keep a staff in London. She can't keep a staff in Montecito. She's a bully. She's obsessed with her own ego, face on television, etc., and playing the victim. So no amount of humanizing videos, even if she managed to find one, are going to work.
From lifestyle brands to wellness slogans, Kelly ridicules Meghan's repeated attempts to reinvent herself as the next Gwyneth Paltrow, noting that none of it sticks because Meghan's brand lacks substance. Kelly's harshest criticism, however, focuses on Meghan's refusal to take responsibility. Every failure, scandal, and backlash is conveniently blamed on someone else: the palace, the media, racism, sexism, outdated traditions. Kelly accuses Meghan of perfecting the art of outsourcing blame while building nothing enduring. Ultimately, Kelly leaves the audience with one defining question: will Meghan Markle be remembered as a modern feminist icon, or as the Duchess who cried victim, cashed in, and squandered the opportunity of a lifetime? For Kelly, the latter is inevitable, because fame fades, but true influence requires substance.